All right. Peace, peace, peace. We back in here. So this time I wanted to get behind the camera and actually show you guys some alignments here to see what be going on from my perspective. Now I have specified these alignments to only have the asteroids. So if you look at these points, for those who understand the language, there is no planetary points here. So this is strictly asteroids. Some people acknowledge asteroids, some don't. So in this particular case, we're going to specify the asteroids exclusively. Like, I don't know if people offer asteroids only reading, but this is basically how one would look. So this is a copy of the chart for right now. So this is right now's chart. So for those who may not understand the language of astrology, don't worry about it. We're not going to go through the whole chart. I just want to specify a couple points instead of just looking at your face, right? So let's actually get behind the camera. Let's look at these mathematics. So where can luck be found right now? That's the question. Well, for luck, we look for the part of fortune. The part of fortune is here. If we look at this circle with the X in the middle, the circle with the X in the middle represents our part of fortune. So right now, the part of fortune is in 14 degrees Leo. If we look at that yellow symbol right there, that is the symbol of Leo. If we look at where the number 2 is right there, we see that circle with the X that represents a part of fortune. We see this in real time. You should see this number is changing. So this is in real time. So it literally just changed from 13 degrees to 14 degrees. So this is all real time. So for those who may not understand what's going on here, we have the 12 houses, right? We have the 1 all the way to 12. Each of these houses represent a zodiac sign. So the first house would be Aries all the way to 12, which would end at Pisces. So of course, the first house is a house of self, second house is a house of money, third house communication, so on and so forth, right? Now that we understand the foundation of the houses, now what is the house cusp? The house cusp is the outer degrees. So when we look at these outer colors, these blues, these greens, these purples, if we look at the degrees on the edges of this wheel, these represent the house cusp. So for example, since the part of fortune is in the second house, which would be the house of Taurus, if we look at, well, what is the second house cusp? The second house cusp will be 23 degrees Cancer if we look at this orange, right? We see 23 degrees Cancer, 19 minutes. So it's 23 degrees Cancer, 19 minutes. Part of fortune is 14 degrees Leo. Like, how do we make that make sense? Sorry about that. Let me turn it back. So let's make this make sense. So if we take it in numerology, we know the 1 and the 4, that's the sun and Uranus. So 1 and 4 is the sun and Uranus. So we have the intelligence of the sun, which represents cosmic intelligence, and we have the higher mind of Uranus. Uranus represents the mind of the astrologer, the mind of the mathematician, someone who is dealing with intricate science, something that's very detailed. So we have cosmic science combined with very high and intricate science. And because it's being expressed through the degree of Leo, which represents the rising of the serpent, which is why the symbol of Leo looks like a serpent. This is the serpent rising up. So the rising of the serpent, what is causing the serpent to rise? The serpent is rising due to the intelligence, the solar intelligence of the sun. The solar intelligence of the sun is causing the serpent to arise. But what intelligence is the sun emitting? The higher intelligence of Uranus, or the planetary light of Uranus, which makes us more inclined to astrology and occult science. So Uranus represents the occult science. So that's astrology, that's numerology, that's the Kabbalah, so on and so forth. All the things that's spoken about on this channel. So right now we have luck in the second house. The second house represents our ability to earn resources and to gather resources. So right now, if you direct your energy towards cosmic intelligence, utilizing the higher mind, some form of the occult, if you combine your cosmic intelligence with the occult, you will be able to luck up with your money. And I'm just giving you an example of how these things play out. But let's get deeper into the degree of Cancer. in the sense of, because the theme of the second house, before we even get into the attributes, the theme of the second house represents what's going on. So for example, we don't have anything going on in the third house. So sometimes we may mistakenly believe that we can skip over the third house because there's no points. However, we see that the third house is 19 degrees Leo. That is the house cusp, which gives us the theme. So the theme of the third house is 19 degrees Leo. If we take it to numerology, we have the sun and Mars. So we have a solar Mars. Mars represents the ability to concentrate. The sun represents like a one concentrated beam of light that shines equally. So the sun is a big beam of light shining everywhere, versus Mars is like a laser beam focused on the one direct thing. So you have a large light or a large intelligence being compressed into a smaller intelligence. So taking a larger intelligence, you could say that's the sun, compressing the intelligence of the sun, so that your concentration and your ability to execute your willpower has been enhanced. In other words, using the sun to enhance your willpower. How do we do that? Simply by going outside. When we go outside, the solar intelligence will enhance our willpower naturally. But if we take it to the cosmic intelligence, now you have to pull from within your own self. You have to pull from your own intelligence. Who are you beyond the mask that we wear every day? You must communicate with that being within you and concentrate the intelligence of that being within you into something that is tangible. As we see, the degrees are changing as we speak. This is why astrology becomes advanced, because we have natal charts. But once we move on to the progress charts and the transit charts, we have numbers moving all the time. So let's get back to the second house cusp. Now, remember, it was 23 degrees Cancer. Now it's 24 degrees Cancer. Cancer is the empath. So utilizing your ability to be an empath will increase your money if you can read invisible forces. You can find money, it's just invisible. Can you read with your intuition the streams of thought? Reading the streams of thought with your intuition. If you are able to do that, you can gain and earn. Let's look at what it means to be in 24 degrees before it changes again. If we take it to numerology, the 2 represents the moon, the 4 represents Uranus once again. So that's subconscious, higher intelligence, pulling the higher intelligence, the mind of a scientist, pulling the mind of a scientist, because we are the scientists, pulling out your scientific mind from your subconscious. Being an empath that can read the streams of thought. So when you can detect and read the streams of thought, now you can actually dig into what they mean. That's what Uranus is doing. Once you can detect invisible streams of thought, now you want to know what they mean. And if you can define the invisible streams of thought into what they mean, because we have Leo in the second house, the rising serpent. If you are able to detect and interpret the invisible streams, they will rise up the serpent, because that's very impressive to be able to read invisible streams and you can extract resources. That is what people do anyway. It is not simply based on what jobs are available or what resources are available. What resources are we willing to create out of the nothingness? It's one thing to deal with resources that are already tangible. What we're doing, or what we are attempting to do, is earn or create resources versus attracting resources. So how do you create resources? You must be able to read and detect invisible forces, the intelligence with your intuition, with your empathic ability. The more you can channel your subconscious mind or theta brainwaves, the more you can channel theta brainwaves, the higher your intelligence will increase. Your ability to channel theta brainwaves will increase your intelligence. And the more you increase your intelligence, you will be able to earn more, because you can rise the serpent that sits dormant. And that is all. We ain't gonna take up too much time. I just want to give y'all a little emphasis on how to earn more money creatively, not just reaching out and grabbing, but pulling from within. So give it a shot and see what happens. We out. Peace.